thread, and we're all the way at the bottom of that one. So those are 3 holes. So now let's go ahead and look at this one here. And if I drop this phone, Karen will kill me. Okay, let's look at this hole. This is for a butt, so this is where the butt was at. See all these little weird hairs in here, man. I don't know what those are from. Those are definitely not from us. See that little hair right there? Right there. Moving on. The hair doesn't mean anything. It's not going to hurt anything, but it's just weird that it's in there. And there we go all the way to the bottom, and you see there's nothing in the bottom. Some loose threads. Okay, well, that's the inspection right there. I'm going to go back in here and see if I can kind of... Let's see if I can figure out how far down that is right there. That looks like it's about... So you got about 2-inch focal point, so right about there. So it looks like it's about... I don't know, what would you guys say? 1, 2, 3, 4, about 3.5 inches down right there. So with that, I'm going to finish up the camera deal here. So I'm going to finish that up. You guys can look at me again here. So I saw, you know, in one shaft cavity, I saw something that I didn't recognize, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what that little black spot represents. It could be extra thread. I don't know. But the point of it is that there's no damage to the shaft. So if we take a shaft and we go anywhere in here, you know, this isn't even where he said the problem was. But I put it in. There's nothing there that is harming. Nothing there is harming the shaft. So I can press it as much as I want to. Press it in as much as I want to here against the side. And I want to scratch it. I want to try to scratch the shaft. But nothing. Nothing. There's no damage whatsoever to the shaft. Same thing on this side. No damage whatsoever. I mean, I could say that even before I pulled it out because I know how these cases work. I know how they feel. Now, you can put your shafts in tips up. So I don't know if he put his shafts in tips up. It didn't seem that way from the but here I've got my shafts in tips up. We'll do the same thing here. And you'll notice that when I put them all in tips up, now you'll see right here, see how it gets a little bit squirrely right there? That's because you've got all the thickest parts at the bottom. So if I were to flip this over and do it the same way, you'd see what it looks like at the bottom, which I'll do that in just a moment. But even that right there, even that is just pushing the pieces out. You know, it is not, there's nothing that can scratch this in any way in here. So the pressure that's being brought to bear on here is so minimal, there's nothing that could scratch it in any way at all. And you can see it's easy to pull it's easy to pull everything out. No problem. Easy to put everything back in. Look at this, pinky finger. Okay? Easy to pull it out. Easy to put it in. Now I'm kind of weird because I'm doing this for the camera, so I'm not going straight out because I don't want to go straight into the camera. But you see that? So the only way that I can see where, let me reach in here and grab this one. The only way that I can see where you could hurt a shaft is if you pull it out and you go against something else. So if you pull it all the way out and you actually go against another piece and like way diagonally like this, see it? If you go way diagonally over here and you pull it against that, yeah, you could probably hurt a shaft if you did that. But I mean, if you simply pull your shaft out straight up like that, you got no problem. Look at this. And if it's in this way, it comes out because the tension's already released. Now, if I take this, for example, and I put these two here like this, so see how that configuration is now? Make sure you guys can still see that. And I pull this out, the foam rubber is going to push out those two shafts out, and it's going to want to snap back. So you hear that a little bit? So it snaps back in, but even that didn't really do it. It was because I was pulling it out. See, if I pull it out straight like that, and I don't let the spring effect get it, there's nothing that can hurt it. See, look at that. The butt fits perfectly right there. See this? So you just push straight down. You push straight down and it works. And the same thing here. Pull it up. See that? Nothing. There's nothing that can touch anything in there. And you push it straight back down. Same thing here. Pull it up. Nothing. So we'll switch it around. We'll switch all these shafts around real quick back to the way they were. Okay? So look, nothing can touch in here. Let me get these two shafts out and we'll do the same thing. Now you hear that click? That click is the snapping back, but I mean that's part of the case because it's got the foam rubber at the top. But there's nothing there that's enough pressure to do anything to the cue. So if I pull this out, see, it has a little click, but that click doesn't do anything. There's nothing there that hurts it. And I put it back in, I don't have to touch anything else to put it back in. And if I pull it out, see that? All it does is just kind of pull out and shift over. Nothing to hurt it. So if I'm using the case this way, right, and I pull a shaft out, there's nothing that can hurt the shaft in there unless the guy goes like this and pulls it, like he pulls it against another shaft. You see as I'm doing here? Here, I'll put it this way so you guys can see the angle a little bit better. If you pull a shaft out and you go against something else, yeah, you could hurt your shaft if you do that, just like anything else that you do, right? You pull it out. That's kind of the yin and yang. Guys, that's kind of the yin and yang of owning this type of case. I mean, there's got to be a little bit of sense that goes along with it. If you want it where it's going to hold it everything inside like this is his case. If you want it where it's going to do that and keep everything secure, keep everything separated, as you can see here, see, nothing's touching inside of there. There's nothing touching inside there. I can take a screwdriver and put it between each one of those, and you guys would see that easily. So, excuse me. So there you go. If you want that, right, and you want to be able to reach in and easily get your stuff out, see, you want it to be able to do this. Look at that. Now I turn it over, nothing's going to happen. Then the yin and yang of this is that you can't have the cues go below the cavities because then it would be really hard to get them out. You'd have to bang your case. Or you can, get cases with tubes that are all the way to the top. Cue fits all the way inside the tube, and when you want it out, you kind of tip it over and hold it like that and get it to come out a little bit, and then you pull out what you want. The drawback to that is, of course, is that now your cues are banging around inside. They're sliding. There's a lot of motion every time you move, every time you drive, and that's the alternative. So you're taking a chance on damaging your cues every single time you move your case. When you drive it, when it falls on the floor, anything like that. This is all my cues. You guys saw my cues in here. There's a Joss in there. I'll zip it up. There's a Joss, it's worth about $700-900 or something like that. There's an Olivier that's like $1,800. The Gilbert jump brake is like $350. So you guys can do all the math on that. It's about $3 in cues. If you want to be able to do this without worrying about your cues, you know, if you want that to happen, then you got to go with the padded interior. And you got to go with a good padded interior, not just any, you know, there's lots of case makers out there trying to imitate us, and they'll do a little bit of padding here, and then the rest will be just thin nylon or something down here, so the cues are like a clothespin. They'll be doing this number right there. But if you want that, you know, you want to be able to do that, then I think I just cracked my tile, dude. I did. Wow. That's awesome. Look at this. Just cracked the tile right here with the case. Right here. Nice. There you go. There you go. Good enough. Case is strong enough to crack tile. So anyway, guys, this has been an overly long video as always. But listen, my conclusion at this point right now is there's nothing wrong with this case. There's nothing in the case, inside the case, that could scratch the guy's shafts in the way that he's claiming. His claims are that the shaft was roughing up his shafts and scratching his shafts, and I don't see any evidence of any way that the case could be roughing up his shaft. Guys, this is the interior. This is it right here. Fabric, foam rubber. That's it. That's just foam rubber right there. Soft, open cell foam rubber. There's nothing on there that could hurt a shaft. So if you, sorry, let me open this back up. I mean, you could literally take this stuff and you could take the foam rubber here and just rub it on the shaft, and there's nothing that will hurt the shaft. The shaft is harder than the foam rubber. So there's nothing here that could do anything to the shaft. It's like a, you ever use a Mr. Clean eraser? That's denser foam. You know, it's denser than this. If you ever use Scotch-Brite or anything like that on here, that's harder and denser. That'll clean your shaft and rough it up. You ever use sandpaper on your shaft? All that stuff is harder than this. There's nothing here that can hurt your shaft. And the fabric itself, again, nothing. The worst that can happen is it burnishes your shaft wherever it touches it. That's it. But as I told the guy before, there's no pressure through the center of this. So if I put the shaft in here, if I put the shaft in there, here's the shaft right here. There's literally no pressure in there. So I can fill it up. I'll put more shafts in there, and you guys can see it. I'll put 2 more in here. Okay, so first of all, see how there's space in between, the foam rubber space in between the shafts? That's how it works. But inside here, you could feel it. There's literally lots of room to move inside of here. So I've thought of that. You know, I've thought, I don't want any pressure, lateral pressure, right? I don't want any extra pressure in any way that could ever harm a cue. And that's why we build the case this way. So it's literally a bag, a padded bag, that goes inside of a hard tube. That's what makes the case. That's what you're looking at. I mean, I don't have anything to hide about this. Anybody can buy my case and tear it apart and see exactly how it's made. It's not rocket science. But if we take it and we put more stuff in here, it doesn't change anything. As far as the pressure goes, it only at the very top right here, at this part right here, only right here, because I have extra foam rubber right there, you see. That's what it looks like. Let's go ahead and put it all in. We'll see how it goes. And that'll be it. So there's those. Push those all the way down to simulate where it would be, right? So this is the way that people normally will use these. And I'm going to save the last shaft here because the guy says, oh, well, you know, when I got it full, I had so much trouble to put the last shaft in. Well, here. There's a hole. See it? Right here. Now watch. Watch how easy this is. Look at that. Nothing is touching. Nothing. If I pull this up now, that's what it looks like, guys. That's what a JB case is right there. There's nothing that can harm your cue in here. Nothing whatsoever. You can feel all the parts down here at the bottom. See, if I push it down, see how it comes out, see how it bulges out right there? So I mean, I've made this, I've made it roomy inside, but still padded. So when something happens, you know, like this, when that happens, it's all padded in there. There's nothing touching anything else. So you get that cushion to protect the cues if it drops on the floor or anything like that, or you know, you throw it or it falls off a car. This is stuff that's happened. But the padding that people think is so tight is not tight. It's just snug in there. So when somebody says, well, oh, it's too tight, it's hurting my cue, it's rubbing the finish off, whatever. No, it's not. It can't. It's impossible. You can sit there, you can come to my booth if you want, and I'll give you a piece of this cloth and backed with the foam rubber, and you can sit there all day long and rub on the cue all day long. You can do 5,000 rubs, you can do 10,000 rubs, do whatever you want, okay? You're not going to hurt these cues. The finish on the cue, the wood of the cue, the wood here, everything is much harder than these fibers on here. Much harder than the foam rubber. That's why people use foam rubber and padding and everything in every other kind of gear that there is to protect it. And we do the same thing. The only difference is we've turned it into a format where you can put your cues in from the top. You can top load like this and get your cues in and out as needed. Like that, so it's no problem. Pinky finger again. Not a problem. And then, you know, another thing, guys, is that we're always working to improve. So it's not like that I'm saying to you this is the be-all end-all of cue cases. I'm always looking to make it better, make it work better for someone. You know, the part about pulling your cues out and going sideways and going against something else, that bothers me. It does. I'm not going to lie about it. It bothers me. But the thing of it is that I have to come to a compromise of how easy it is to use the case versus the protection. And that's where we're at right now. You know, so a little bit of sense on your side as a customer of how to use the case means that you get the best protection that I can build into a case at this moment in the top loading style case. But that doesn't mean that I'm done with creating these interiors or figuring out better ways to do it. I got lots of stuff on the drawing board. But anyway, back to this guy. At the moment, you know, my conclusion has to be that there's nothing in there that can harm a shaft. So here's the deal. I'm going to be at the APA World Championships starting on Thursday, this coming Thursday, which is the 10th, I guess, or the 11th, I'm not sure. And I will have this case there. Anybody can come and inspect it. You can use my cues, you can use your own cues, you can do whatever you want. You can use a flashlight, you can look inside. And if you have any other conclusion, or you just look at it and we'll talk about it, and if need be we'll make another video. But you can tell me what you think. You can try to hurt the shaft in there, and it'll be there for everybody to inspect. So there you go. Thank you very much, and take care. Bye bye.